The left and the media make 9/11 about Trump. Afghanistan turns into a disaster. And Biden's approval ratings reach an all-time low. I'm Yo Grabba Gabba. This is the new Cancel This show. Welcome to Cancel This, episode 24, recorded October of 2021. It's been a long time since I recorded. It's been about a month. I believe it was the week of 9/11 last time I recorded. Now it's the week of 10/11. But a lot to get to, a lot to talk about, and I'm excited to dive on in here with you. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't missed anything. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pavement Road Productions. You can email the show directly, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. And you can subscribe right there on the YouTube channel as well so you don't miss anything. Email the show, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com, like I said. A lot of stuff going on here. Obviously, we got our reality TV show as well, with our recap of Survivor 41. And so we got a lot going on, trying to get out some new stuff as well and some sports stuff as well if we can. But definitely subscribe so you don't miss anything. Obviously, it's been a while since we recorded, and but it's been a very busy time, so trying to get out as much as often as I can here with the reality TV and the sports stuff as well. Probably will be recording maybe once a month or maybe a little more than that, but love to do more, but just not going to be possible right now. So just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the trending topics, some of the things that have been going on. Obviously, the first topic here I want to talk about is 9/11. That's the last thing we talked about. Obviously, 9/11, 20th anniversary of 9/11. It was memorable. There's a lot of things that people talked about, and a lot of the 20 years later, where are we, and that kind of thing. But so much of 9/11 was made about Trump, which is kind of insane. I mean, he's not even president anymore, and they're talking about how all the former presidents got together to go to a memorial for 9/11 and all that. And Bush was there, and Clinton was there, and Obama was there, blah blah blah. But Trump wasn't there. He didn't go. Well, you know what Trump was? Trump was meeting with firefighters who sacrificed their lives. And he was meeting with police officers, and that kind of thing. And he was meeting with the first responders and the actual heroes. And that should tell you everything you need to know. Well, all these other presidents are getting together to get their picture taken. Trump goes and talks to the actual heroes. Talks to the actual people who are making a difference. Obviously both were valuable. Both of the things were great. Both the presidents, had speeches and commemorated the 9/11 and the first responders and all that stuff, and memorialized what happened. But when all the other politicians are going there for the photo op, he's going there to meet with the actual people who played a part in that day. Some of the survivors of that day and some people who lost loved ones. So it kind of tells you all you need to know. But obviously 9/11, they made the 20th anniversary of 9/11 about how Trump's terrible and how he should have been, how he's not worthy to be with the other former presidents, which again tells you all you need to know. If you had a chance to meet with first responders and that kind and the heroes, instead you went to go hang out with all your other elitist friends. I mean, that tells you again all you need to know. 9/11 was obviously obviously the craziest day of my life. Obviously, I'll never forget. But some people do. Some people don't even think about what that day represents or what the day was, and it's one of those things where if you don't take the time to think about it, you will forget. You won't remember, and not that you have to keep bringing it up or whatever, but at the same time, the people who lost their lives, they deserve at least a moment of your time on that day at least, and living your life like 9/12. On 9/12 when we all came together, we it didn't matter who was who, and who you voted for or anything like that. Everybody held hands and bought flags and everything like that. Now flags are racist symbols. It's just crazy. But never forget we have, unfortunately, and we were too busy talking about how horrible America is and this kind of thing, and how people are even saying, "Oh, America deserved it 9/11." That's just crazy. It's just crazy. It shows how far we've come, and not in a good way. But obviously, again, the media can't talk about what a bad job. They can't talk about how that the Afghan flag is flying over our embassy in Afghanistan, or the Taliban flag is flying over the U.S. embassy in Afghanistan on 9/11, and how Biden royally screwed the pooch on Afghanistan and just made it terrible. The people who knock down our buildings and kill all the people are now back in control in Afghanistan. We don't want to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that disaster that Biden created, which we'll talk more about here shortly. That's not something we're going to go into as members of the media. No, we're going to talk about how Trump didn't go to the ceremony with all the other presidents. Because he does his own thing. It's not normal. There's no normalcy, right? Normalcy would be that the Afghan flag, the Taliban flag, wouldn't be flying over the U.S. embassy in Afghanistan. That would be normal. So we can't talk about the disgrace that the Biden had, and how people were clinging to airplanes trying to get out of Afghanistan, and soldiers getting killed for the first time in 18 months under Biden's watch, and how we gave up the country, and all people who died, are rolling over in their graves because of the disgrace that Biden created. The people who were responsible for harboring the terrorists that committed that act are now back in control with no repercussions. Some of them died, but overall, the ones who were, we arrested some of them, released some, and now they're back in charge. It's a joke, but we can't talk about that. We can't talk about how terrible Biden has done. We have to talk about that Trump went somewhere else on 9/11, didn't actually go to the memorial service, and how that's wrong, how he should have done that instead he met with the actual people who made a difference that day. So when when they're talking about Trump, when they bring up Trump or January 6th, of course, I thought January 6th was the worst event attacking U.S. history, according to the left, according to the media. January 6th was the worst thing that ever happened. So why even care about 9/11? Why even have a memorial for it if January 6th was worse? It's crazy, insane. So when the deflect, that's how they feel. That's how they feel. That they don't care. Because that Biden's doing a terrible job. Because if he was doing a great job, they'd be talking about how if he was doing a moderate job, but even a somewhat okay job, they'd be talking about how great he is and how wonderful he is and how everything's just wonderful under Joe Biden. Instead, they have to talk about how bad Trump is. Trump hasn't been president in 9 months. But we have to talk about that instead because Biden's doing such a terrible job. To deflect to talk about Biden, talk about Trump, to get the topic off Biden. People stop talking about Biden. Whenever Trump's in the news as not the president, the president's a joke and a disaster. And they want ratings because obviously Trump delivered ratings for them. For better or worse. Now I want to switch gears and talk about Biden's wonderful work in Afghanistan, just the travesty he's created. And of course, Biden said at the very beginning of this whole thing, the buck stops with him. And I think he was just trying to quote a famous person to feel cool or, have the soundbite or whatever. And he knows, and he doesn't know anything. His people know that a soundbite from, the media will help his cause, right? So he wanted to give them a soundbite they could use. And they could keep playing that and, make it seem great. But ultimately, he's a coward. He is a coward. And a lot of his people are cowards. They put these military people in harm's way for them to die. And when there's blowback, when all these bad things happen, it's very much Obama. It's so uncanny. Obviously, they work together and all that stuff, and they have a lot of the same people in the same administration, but it's Obama. It's whatever good happened is because of me, whatever bad happened is because of somebody else. And it's not leadership. It's politics. I have to, look good politically. It's all about my political, my political aspirations. And you're the president, but you want to get reelected and you want to, help your party, maintain House and Senate and that. The president really, the president should step outside of politics, of party politics once the president. I mean, yes, they want to get their agenda passed and that kind of thing through Congress, but Congress doesn't pass anything anyways. Congress just passes spending bills at this point. But Afghanistan has fallen because of Biden. I mean, and Trump had dealings with the Taliban, and I don't necessarily agree with his doing that either. But at the end of the day, he blames all the bad that happened on Trump, and anything that good happened, he takes credit for. And of course, it's not true. Of course, it's not true. Trump was saying we're going to pull out of Afghanistan if they did what they said they were going to do, and they weren't doing it, so we weren't going to pull out and we're going to keep the troops there to make sure that nothing else happened. And there hadn't been anybody killed in 18 months. But of course, Biden wants to do this lackluster thing. I mean, the Taliban said, we will let you control the city and get people out of the city of Kabul. And get them to the airport. We'll control security at the airport, make sure nobody gets in the airport. You guys control security in the cities. And Biden said, no, you guys can control the cities. We'll just control the airport. I mean, the trust you're getting, and of course they have to say the Taliban's good because they're afraid that the Taliban's going to be like, oh, well, America now says that we're bad, so let's act that way and let's kill these people. They know they're leaving people behind, so they have to treat the Taliban as if the Taliban's great, so the Taliban doesn't kill their people. I mean, if you have to talk about your ally, like they're just wonderful, so they don't kill you or they don't turn on you, and you have to blow smoke, they're not really your ally. And now, of course, all these stories of the Taliban telling people that to put black X's on their house if they have a woman over 12 years old in their house. So if there's a woman over 12 years old in the house, they put a black X on it. And if there's a black X, it means there's a woman over 12 years old, and the Taliban get to go in there and take her and sell her into sex slavery. These are the reports coming out of Afghanistan. And if there's a black X on the house, they go in there and they go in there and take the woman out. If there's a black X on the house and the woman's married, well, now she's not a virgin anymore, so she can't, she's not good to them anymore. So they're going to rape her and kill the husband. And if there is no black X on the house and they find the woman in the house over 12, they'll kill the entire family, including the woman. That's what we left. So where are you feminists? Where are you feminists? Because, we want, feminists, they have this abortion, they just worship abortion. They love abortion. It's the greatest thing ever. It's supposed to be safe, legal, and rare. Now it's like, if I don't have an abortion, I can't survive in the world. I can't be successful without having multiple abortions I get to brag about on social media. I mean, there used to be, room for compromise. Now it's, if you inhibit us in any way, it's gone. Meanwhile, you can inhibit the Second Amendment. And Nancy Pelosi and Sonia Sotomayor, oh my goodness, saying that abortion's great and it's in the Constitution that women can have abortions. No, it's not. There's zero place on earth where killing an unborn child is protected legally in the Constitution. I mean, Roe versus Wade was a decision pulled out of thin air. It has no constitutional basis at all. But even if you want to say, okay, well, there has to be a line drawn somewhere. Like I've been saying for so long, there has to be a line drawn somewhere where a baby is a baby or it's not. Right? There has to be a line drawn somewhere. So if you're gonna draw that line, then it has to be a place of there has to be the ability to negotiate, and nobody wants to negotiate because it's my way or no way. But again, at the end of the day, feminists, they don't care. Women can be raped and killed in Afghanistan. It's fine. Oh, it's somebody else's fault. It's not Biden's fault. Biden would never do it. It's Biden's fault. Okay, it is Biden's fault. He wanted to. And what was the strategic reason for pulling out? Because he wanted to end this war. Well, if nobody's getting killed in a war, that's not a war. I mean, let's end the longest war in history. Let's end the war, World War II, because we still have soldiers in Germany. We still have soldiers in Japan. So obviously, the war's still going on. We still have soldiers there, right? Nobody's gotten killed there in 40 years, but we still have soldiers there. So it's got to be still a war. So we should end that war, and the war in Korea too, because we still have soldiers stationed in Korea. So we have soldiers stationed in Afghanistan. And we have to pull them all out to end the longest war. But the war is over. If there's been no fighting, there's no longer a war. If there's no fighting, maybe it's a Cold War, maybe, but you're keeping the enemy away. When you announce that you're pulling out, they start taking over lands because they know you're not going to be there to stop them. So Biden creates an absolute international disaster. The British Parliament votes to hold Biden in contempt. The French recall their ambassador because they don't trust Biden because he not only did all this stuff with the allies and didn't give his allies any heads up, didn't help his own people out of Afghanistan, left them there, just left them. We won't leave anybody behind except all these people we left behind, of course, obviously. He does all that, leaves them all behind, leaves them all to suffer, and there's no fallback, no repercussions, nothing. It's fine. And then he undercut a French deal with Australia. And when asked about it, his spokesman said, "Oh, he didn't even know that was going on." I think it was John Kerry. John Kerry. Before Biden, the dumbest person ever run for president. I mean, his only claim to fame is he married a rich lady. That was his claim to fame as being. That's why he should have been president, because I married a rich lady. Now obviously Biden. Thank God Biden was president, because now John Kerry is only the second dumbest person ever run for president. So, anyways, John Kerry says, "Oh, he didn't know about this deal with Australia and France, and he didn't mean to undercut it." Well, if he didn't know, what else doesn't he know? I mean, what else doesn't this moron know? I mean, he calls President Ghani and asks President Ghani to lie to the international community about how well his military is doing against fighting off the Taliban. Trump would have been impeached already. For sure. Biden should resign. And not only that, this disaster he created. And people say, "Oh, thank God they finally pulled out of Afghanistan." Yeah? Thank God? So when the next terrorist attack happens from Afghanistan, funded and harbored by people in Afghanistan, and the Taliban supports it, are you going to say thank God? Or are you going to say we should have kept some troops there to keep an eye on them? What are you going to say? What's going to be your response? Thank God we pulled out troops in a war that has been over, in essence, for a few years now? And Biden can't stop checking his watch when they're unloading caskets off the planes, bodies that he's responsible for? As commander-in-chief, he put in a plan that got them killed, and he can't bother not looking at his watch because he's so bored? Absolute joke. But of course, he's not going to fire anybody. He's not going to fire Milley or Lloyd Austin or anything, because they did such a great job. It was historic. They historically pulled people out of Afghanistan. They had the biggest flight, evacuation of all time. Airlifts, the greatest airlifts of all time. Okay, well, there wasn't really planes like 200 years ago, so it's pretty limited scope what it could be. But it's like saying we solved this problem so well. Yes, you also created the problem, right? It's like, I started this building on fire, and then I'm so happy that I got all these people out. But you caused the problem. It's like you blew up, you blew a giant hole in this dam, and then water started coming out of the dam, and you patched up the dam. Well, if you left the dam alone, it wouldn't need to be patched up in the first place. I created the problem, but then I fixed the problem. Yeah, well, all the casualties that came from that, and all the people are going to get killed, and again, he left his own translator, a man who saved his life in a snowstorm when he was a senator in Afghanistan. A man who saved his life. He left to die. And it wasn't even and it was all these private organizations, like Nazarene Fund and all these other organizations that getting people out of Afghanistan. It's not even Biden. He stranded people in Afghanistan. They're going to be killed. He gave them a kill list. And these moron fact checkers are going to tell you all these things. These fact checkers are partisan idiots. They're as partisan. I mean, you can say all these things you want to say. Say whatever you want to say. Say that, you can say, oh, Trump made up stories and exaggerate. Okay, that's fine. Biden's overtly lying. He's saying all his generals are saying that they should have done it this way. In fact, none of them are saying that. And if they are saying that, they should be fired because they screwed up. But Biden can't take blame for it. He's just saying, I did great and everything went wonderful. Say it to the families of 13 dead people that you can't even stop looking at your watch long enough to have their bodies be taken off the plane. Say it to them. Say it to Stu Schaller's family, who he was arrested and thrown in jail for criticizing you. And I know the military doesn't have free speech. I understand that. But you should stand up. You should stop being a coward. Because you are a coward, Biden. You and all the politicians are cowards. And with Afghanistan and with all these other things, they're cowards. You're going to look at, back when I was younger, the mobs would just, mobs and protesters would say things and try to get people to do things their way, and then eventually they would shut up and go away, and that'd be it. Because they eventually get tired and go home. Now, every protest, everybody who has something to say, says it, and they get what they want. Because politicians are cowards. Like the vaccine mandates. I mean, I really wonder if the federal government, which doesn't have the authority to have vaccine mandates, the states that may have that authority, the federal government definitely does not. If the federal government, their mandates get thrown out, it's very possible that the states won't want to take it up, the mandate, because enough people will be vaccinated by then, that shouldn't be a big deal. 80%, if 80% of people have had COVID or have had the vaccination, then they have strong immunity, according to studies. But again, studies and science, that doesn't matter. Just do what we say. But I feel like a lot of the politicians who now, in the state government, won't want to take up the mandates, because they can point at the federal government, hey, it's not my fault, the federal government said so. Hey, the CDC said so. But now if they can't enforce a mandate because they're not allowed to, constitutionally, I really, really wonder if the federal government, not being able to enforce the mandates, I really wonder if the state politicians are going to be able to do it, because they're so afraid. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Afghanistan is still a disaster. People are getting killed in the streets. People are getting murdered for working with the U.S. And Biden said, it's such a great thing. We got so many people out. Yeah, did you get everybody out? Matlock. I like chocolate chip. Ice cream. I like it. Yum. He just has nothing there. He's so pathetic. And like I said, I don't dislike Biden because he's old and senile. I dislike Biden because he's a damn liar. He's a liar. He says all these things. Trump did all this stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Trump put America first. And if you like the gas prices being what they are, if you like the fact that there's a supply chain crisis, guess what? One way to avoid a supply chain crisis is to make stuff in the U.S. And it's funny because all these 100 countries signed a letter, like Djibouti signed a letter saying that, the U.S., the Afghanistan, the Taliban needs to let people out of Afghanistan who want to leave. They can't hold them there and kill them. They have to let them leave. So I know Afghanistan's going to be really afraid of that. By the way, do you know who didn't sign the letter? China and Russia. Because they wanted the U.S. to say that they wanted, Biden said that China and Russia wanted the U.S. to stay in Afghanistan forever. Actually, they didn't, because now they're going to go and get all the raw materials. They're going to go ahead and increase their own wealth. And China now knows that, not that, Biden wasn't bad with them to begin with, but China now knows if they do anything to, let's say, take over Taiwan, what are they going to do? What's Biden going to do? The answer is nothing. And they know this. So the Afghanistan disaster that Biden created, and again, the U.S. and the U.S. people in the United States, they have really short memories anyways. They don't remember, they don't care about foreign policy. They only care about foreign policy when they see images on TV. Then they care about it for 5 minutes, and they go back to caring about the price of gas and other things, But so they don't care about foreign policy. So a lot of this will be forgotten. But the whole thing is, this is they said, oh, can you imagine Trump being the commander in chief of the military? Yeah, this didn't happen under Trump. It would have happened under Trump. He would have listened to his generals. He would have said, I don't care about the political win. I just want to do what's right. I want to do what's right for America. Biden has not done. Name one thing Biden has done for the betterment of America. Name one thing. I'll wait. See, you can't. Biden's done nothing for America. He's maybe done things for certain coalitions. He may have done things to make quote unquote equity. But how racist is it to say that people can't do things without your help? And minorities in certain communities can't do things without your help. Those birthing people who are chest feeding, those pregnant men need my help. Get out of here. Finally, I want to talk about this other thing again. We could talk for hours and hours. It's been a while since we've recorded, so I don't want to go too long here. But the last thing I want to talk about is hashtag Let's Go Brandon. So when all you people out there who are saying, oh, I need to trust, I trust the news, I trust CNN, I trust, and it's funny because majority, I think, the approval rate for the Congress has been under 20% for so long. 25% is a high for trust in Congress. Yet they re-elect their own people 85% clip. So I hate all of Congress except for my person. My person's the only good one. Of the 300 people in Congress, my person's the only good one. Oh, okay, sure. It's pretty ridiculous. But if you trust the media, you're just dumb. And it gets hard, so it's hard to know where to get your information from. So my suggestion is look at CNN and look at Fox. My look at a liberal podcast and then listen to talk radio. Get both sources, and the truth will be somewhere in the middle. But understanding if you understand that there's always a bent, there's always a slant to all news. Fox News is not fair and balanced. CNN is not it's the worldwide leader news. It's very, very left leaning. Okay, so when you know what the sources, what their ideations are, how they feel politically, and all that stuff, that's when you can understand. Okay, well, of course they're gonna think that. So your best way to get news is to get from both sources, and of course nobody's gonna do that. They're gonna read a headline on Facebook, and that's gonna be their news for the week. And of course that's a problem. But another example of how the media lies to you, straight up lies to you, is the Let's Go Brandon thing. So you guys haven't heard about that? I think Brandon Brown was not NASCAR, but some auto racing person, and he won a race, and all the people were chanting FJB, right? F Joe Biden. They've been doing all the sporting events, even not even like the liberal, and not even just the red areas, right? I mean, Boston, they're chanting F Joe Biden, right? I mean, he's not popular, and he's the most popular president of all time. People turn on him pretty damn quick, because he wasn't Trump, so we had to elect him because he wasn't Trump. But you know what? They turn on him pretty quick. Because they saw that his policies actually sucked. Trump's policies were way better, and because he didn't like Trump's personality, he had to get rid of him and get somebody else who had better policy, who's an experienced elder statesman who can't find his crack with both hands. Okay, and he needs his diaper changed every 5 minutes. He goes out to give a speech about the soldiers getting killed, and he doesn't even take questions afterwards. He just turns and walks away because he can't take questions because he's afraid that his handlers are afraid he's going to say something stupid. Because every time he opens his mouth, stupid things fall out, like most liberals. But he wants quote unquote unity, but he can't even unify his own party. The radical left and the moderate left aren't even unified. So what do we do about that? Anyways, so people are chanting F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden. They're not fans of his. And again, most popular president of all time, more votes than anybody has ever gotten. And a lot of people are either really regretting that vote, or maybe he didn't get as many votes as we thought in the first place. Either way, he got more votes than he should have. Let's just put it that way. The votes he got more than he should have. So anyways, they're chanting F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden, right? All this stuff. Well, he gets to so this was, and again, NASCAR and auto racing, not exactly a left-wing, liberal hotbed, so that one makes a little more sense. But, even, in Boston and in Michigan State, I think the Michigan State game, they were chanting, whatever. But, or Michigan, whatever it was, college football games. Full capacity in all these stadiums, by the way, which is crazy, right? You have to have a mandated vaccination to do a lot of these things in a lot of these states, but you can go there and have full football stadium. Fire nurses for not getting vaccines, but you have full football stadium full of vaccinated or unvaccinated. We don't know. So at this stock car race, where it was, they're having after the whole race, they're chanting F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden. And after the race is over, they're interviewing the winner. This guy, I think it's Brandon Brown or whatever his name was, who won the race. And they're interviewing him. And in the background, they just keep hearing F Joe Biden, and they're trying to do a live interview after the race. And it's hard. You can't really cut the audio because you're interviewing somebody. It's an audio medium. So they're chanting F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden. You can hear it's very clearly coming through, or from the crowd. And the reporter is saying, "Oh, hear that? They're saying, 'Let's go, Brandon,' because." They can't, there's no way that the people would be dissatisfied with Joe Biden, especially because the media got him elected. I mean, the media thinks he's the greatest thing ever. They got him elected. It was all negative stuff on Trump. It was all fact-checking Trump. Meanwhile, Biden lies like a rug. Every other word out of his mouth is a lie. Every word out of his mouth is a lie. And they don't fact-check. They fact-check you when you call him a liar. Well, he's technically not lying. The truth is that we're not sure if he's lying. Oh, okay. But Trump exaggerates one thing, and now he's the worst person ever, and he's a liar. Because he exaggerates. This is the greatest thing that ever happened. Actually, it's not the greatest thing that ever happened. Okay. Well, you fact check opinions, but you don't fact check facts, which is like the complete opposite of what you need. But the media is so in bed that you say something bad about Joe Biden, they're going to tell you, no. See, they're not even saying that they don't like Joe Biden. They're saying, let's go, Brandon. Pretty sure they're not. Pretty sure they're saying F Joe Biden. But again, the media will tell you whatever you want to hear. And they will never, Biden's their guy. So if you're mad at Biden, you're mad at them, and that's not okay. But his approval ratings are down. They've been going down. And you notice, where's Kamala Harris? Oh, she was out in front when there was the honeymoon stage. And by the honeymoon stage usually lasts like a year. His approval ratings were like 50% when he started. Now it's like his approval ratings are like mid to low 30s at this point. And in all the swing states, his poll numbers have dropped at least 8 points in like every swing state. So now Kamala Harris, because she was the face of it, and it was the Biden-Harris administration. It wasn't just Biden; it was both of them together. Now that they're unpopular, now they're hiding her because they don't want her to get the blowback from all his stupid policies and his stupid ideas. But this isn't Biden, anyways. It's Ron Klain. It's Susan Rice. It's all the radical leftists who are in his administration. He doesn't know what he's doing. He can't read his teleprompter half the time. He's too busy eating Jell-O in his basement. But when Biden was popular, Harris was out there, and Biden was popular, and then the border crisis, so he put Harris on that, and she didn't do anything. She didn't even go to the border. She went to a town near the border and had a photo op, just like AOC did. She went and took a picture in a white dress, crying, looking at an empty field to make it look like she was at the border and was all upset about what was happening at the border. But now the border is actually a disaster, and that's okay. We don't need to go in there and cry at the border. So, but Harris nowhere to be found because she was out front, on the border, quote unquote. She was the border czar. Border's still a disaster. She hasn't done anything about it. Hasn't even been to the border. But now she's hiding. You can't even find her because the administration is such a disaster. Now it's like Biden's going to take the fall, and they're going to try to let Harris run and say, oh, I was fighting against all those ideas. Or really, because you said, In Afghanistan, you were the last person in the room. So again, when things go bad, oh, it was Biden's fault. They're so cannibalizing. If it goes well, it's my fault. If it goes bad, it's somebody else's fault. You know, unity takes a strong leadership, and blaming other people is not strong leadership. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can look at our Facebook page, facebook.com/PaymentRoadProductions. You can like our YouTube channel, just subscribe right there on the page. Email the show directly, paymentroadproductions@gmail.com. That's paymentroadproductions@gmail.com. We have our reality TV show, reality TV recap coming out as well here, so definitely subscribe to some of that stuff. If you like just the politics or just the reality TV stuff or the sports stuff that we're trying to get into, you can subscribe and you can get all that and just listen to what you want. But subscribe so you don't miss anything. Some stuff that you're definitely gonna want to hear. And like I said, I'll try to get this out more often. Still do it once a week or every other week at this point. Obviously, it's been about a month since I was able to record, but we have a wedding coming up here in about a month, so I don't think we'll be doing a whole lot of recording, but we'll try to get out to you as soon as possible. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss anything. Like our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, and email the show directly at paymentproductions@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. I'll definitely get out more information soon, more content soon. But until next time, bye then.